Hey Crossroads family, I'm Monica Bush, and my family and I have attended the South Campus since 2019. I'm so excited that Luke asked me to share about my faith, and I'm excited to be able to do this because we have had so much happen in our family in the last 9 years. 9 years ago, I got a diagnosis about my son, and he was going to be born with a cleft lip and cleft palate. And it was devastating. It was unexpected, and I didn't know how to process it. When we got Henry's diagnosis, we didn't know even what a cleft was. We had no family history. We didn't know everything. It was just, we got this diagnosis, and handing him over, knowing that he's gonna be forever changed, that first surgery is just, it just guts you, because you see this baby in recovery who doesn't look like your baby, who doesn't sound like your baby. They're covered in blood, they're hooked up to a bunch of leads, and you know they're in pain and you can't make it right. You can't fix it. So I guess that's when you can say my faith really shifted from a noun to a verb. I prayed challenging prayers because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And so I said, God, you have to help me figure this out because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know everything I'm supposed to know. I don't have it all figured out. And I know that he wouldn't expect me to. And that's where him walking alongside me as I'm on this journey, that is what is growing my faith, because I'm constantly going back to him and saying, Henry is having this surgery. We've never done that before. I don't know what that's about. I need your help because I'm a basket case. And I'm trying to be brave, and I'm trying to communicate to Henry what we're going to be doing. I'm thankful for a conversation that I had with another cleft mom when Henry was a baby, because she took the time to understand everything that I was going through and help me feel like it was normal. And I walked away from that conversation feeling empowered and encouraged, and definitely not feeling alone. And God really put the desire in my heart at that time to impact the cleft community on a much larger scale. So I basically jumped into every Facebook support group I could find. And because cleft care is not just a quick fix, it's an ongoing thing, I get to pretty much share every part of Henry's journey, which is really complex. Surgery number 12 for him is in December, and he's only 9. So on top of managing all of Henry's health care, I also was struggling with my own health. And I was in a really dark place for over 2 years. I had no idea what was wrong with me. And I knew I was meant for more than just existing and coasting through life, managing my symptoms. In 2019, I was actually diagnosed with something called Eagle syndrome. And I swear most doctors think I'm making it up. Because I had a laundry list of symptoms that didn't make sense, and it could have been 1,000 other things. I wasn't sure if I was having a stroke. I wasn't sure if I had MS. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that I wasn't just a tired mom with migraines. I knew something was wrong. And I pushed for some blood tests. I figured out my vitamin D was insufficient. You could see it in the panoramic x-ray, but I had a CT that showed the bone was like angled down between my carotid artery and my jugular vein, compressing my jugular, which is why I had the headaches all the time. And I had 3 major facial nerves affected by it in some way. During that time, I had 2 surgeries, which left me with swallowing issues, speaking issues, and I was aspirating into my lungs for about 6 months. So even at my lowest point during my recovery, not really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, God still saw my grit and perseverance. And when he called me, I said yes, and I was obedient. And I started a nonprofit organization for cleft and craniofacial families called Legendary Smiles. And our mission is to support them and strengthen them and be there at every single part of their journey. I help families across the entire state. We have over 300 families in our group, and it is all about my son or daughter needs this. Where do I go? Hospital recommendations, therapist recommendations. Just being able to connect with families is the biggest thing. Being able to say, hey, I understand. I'm in the trenches with you. I completely understand what that's like. Recently, God used a 1.5 month long battle with COVID pneumonia to remind me once again that I have work to do. My kids had actually just started school for 5 days, and my whole family ended up getting COVID. And I was the sickest, unfortunately. I had a fever for 11 days. I was in and out of the hospital trying to get treatment in the ER, but also my antibody treatment. And thankfully, my husband was my advocate, and he worked with my doctor to get me some supplemental oxygen at home 24/7. And it was just really hard to go through that mentally, because when you have 105-degree temperature, you can't think clearly. So even though I was deathly ill and mentally exhausted, God still turned around and he used that experience to say, I was here with you the whole time. You asked me to keep you breathing. And he did. And he said, I still have this amazing opportunity for you. All you need to do is believe in yourself that I've chosen you to do it. I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel good, but I knew I could do one task at a time. I could have one conversation with someone, and I knew that I could make a difference. Kind of a God story in that is that a mere 6 days after I had my last chest x-ray, I received an email from Smile Train. And in case anybody doesn't know who Smile Train is, they are the world's largest cleft organization. So I casually mentioned when I went to their conference last fall that, you know, we had this nonprofit, it's called Legendary Smiles. I just casually mentioned it in a chat window, and little did I know that would lead to a Zoom meeting with the president of Smile Train and eventually being on their advisory council. So here I was struggling just to have enough air to brush my teeth, and God is presenting this amazing opportunity to tell the whole world what we're doing from Indiana. All because I said yes and was obedient. I changed my perspective and shift that to, I had this really hard thing in my life, but now I get to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and that is incredible. I'm so thankful that he's chosen me to do this job, because I really lack the confidence, but God doesn't need you to be a model Christian to impact others as we walk in our faith. And I know that I need him on this cleft journey with me, because I would crumble otherwise. He has an amazing way of using pain in our life to shift that into a calling. And I just want to close with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Christine Kane. This quote really stuck with me and is true in my life. Sometimes when we feel we're in a dark place and we feel like we've been buried, we've actually been planted instead.